Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, Baby Huey and Ryan Tronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner. It's Tim from Pro Wrestling Unlimited. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty good. I always love being on here with you, talking wrestling and just getting a different perspective of things, because a lot of times I do my stuff by myself, but always having someone else to talk to is great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, once again, for making the hot tag, filling in for Brian on this episode. So if you're listening to this right now, this will probably be, at the time, the most recent episode at the top of our episodes, wherever you listen to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. Go back one episode, start there. That's our full WrestleMania 39 review. Sorry for the delay. It's been a busy week and a half, just traveling back home, catching up on work, and just a lot of other stuff, personal stuff going on, but back on track. So listen to our WrestleMania 39 review both nights. It's just nicely summed up right there. And now this episode, we're going to talk some clickbait news, and we're also going to talk about the fallout on this past two episodes of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, just kind of the direction WWE's going right now, heading into Backlash, which is coming up, be in May, right? Is that the
May 6th?
Yeah, so Backlash coming up next month, and just some of the new storylines are going, the draft, so much things are going on in the last week and a half already, a lot of stuff to talk about. So we'll jump into all that in a second. So first things first, let's talk some clickbait news. And Tim, this was news that came out, I want to say Sunday morning of night 2 of WrestleMania, that WWE has been purchased by Endeavor. So yeah, you have the details. You're the newsman. Fill me in.
There's a lot of confusion on what this actually is. And I'm going to say right now that Fightful has a great video up actually explaining what this actually is. Jimmy Van, the founder of Fightful, goes into detail as far as he knows, because he's a big business guy. So he kind of knows, it's not actually a sale, but a merger. No money is being transferred between Endeavor and the WWE. Hence, why we saw the WWE stock dip a little bit on that first day when they officially announced the merger. Okay. Because it is not an actual sale. No money is being transferred. It is literally the WWE coming to Endeavor, Endeavor then taking the UFC and starting a new publicly traded company with both the UFC and the WWE falling under that new publicly traded company. It doesn't have a name yet, but will trade on the stock exchange as TKO. Gotcha. Okay. And honestly, I think Vince got screwed. And I think Vince got swindled. I think Vince got... Ari Emanuel, I think, sweet-talked Vince. Because Vince could have got a cash deal here. We know that Liberty Media, that owns SiriusXM and F1 and a few other companies, was interested in buying WWE. If you watch that CNBC interview with Ari Emanuel and Vince McMahon... I tried to, but I was just staring at the mustache the whole time. That's a whole other thing. Sorry. Ari Emanuel the whole time is just telling Vince what he wants to hear. Just telling Vince what he wants to hear. And I think that's how maybe these negotiations may have went of, oh yeah, Vince, you can do this and we'll do that and this and that. You'll run this and you'll run that. And for Vince to agree to this and not get a payment to get any money is super, super weird.
Interesting. Because now, some other people I've hear like their takes on it. They were saying this is like perfect for Vince McMahon as far as
no. Okay, because I think Vince found the deal that will keep him in charge for now. I think Liberty Media maybe would have said, okay, we'll do it, but we don't want Vince running anything. So Vince could have got money. Yeah.
Well,
apparently Comcast has been out for a while.
Yeah, but like these other potential bidders, they saw that WWE was able to function without him for the last, 8 months. Yes. So I think a lot of these bidders were like, okay, we'll potentially buy it, but we don't want Vince there. And I'm sure Vince, that was probably the big, turning point, or not, the big problem issue there was like, well, I want to sell to someone that's going to keep me in power. And it sounds like, and I think at the time he's going to get this right now.
Yes. And I think Nick Khan knew all the right things to say leading up to this, because he was asked, well, what about Vince being in charge? What if a company doesn't want Vince in charge? And Nick Khan did Vince said that if there's a company that wants to buy that doesn't want him in charge, he'll step away. All while knowing that Vince would not take a deal that would make that happen. I think Nick Khan just knew what to say to the media to make everything seem like they're going to play ball with anybody. But I think the real thing was Vince was only going to go for a deal that kept him in charge. But where I think Vince got screwed, as soon as this deal goes into place, the chance they can go, all right, Vince, now you're fired. You're gone. You're cut. Because Vince isn't at the top anymore. He may be at the top of WWE. He may even be at the top of whatever this new publicly traded company is, but Endeavor's above that.
Yeah, and what's the CEO of Endeavor again?
Barry Emanuel.
So this is the first time Vince McMahon has had a boss in...
Other than his dad.
Yeah, in like, what, 40 plus years?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first time he's going to have to answer to someone else, or someone else has more power than him that could force him out. And with the new deal, so now this new merger company... It's now worth what, $21 billion.
So they're trying to say it's. I think they put their own evaluations on it.
Okay.
I don't think it was actually and I'm not a stock market guy, so I could be completely wrong on this.
Okay.
But basically what happened was Endeavor wanted to be in control of everything. So Vince was going out there saying, I can get $9 billion for my company. So I'm going to say WWE's worth $9 billion. Well, Endeavor had to be in charge. Endeavor had to say, we're bringing more to the table. Hence why they are saying UFC is worth $12 billion.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's how Endeavor will now have 51% control of this new company.
And
because they brought more to the table.
And then the 49% is going to be WWE shareholders.
Yes.
And also because of this merger, Vince McMahon's shares, which he had like the stock B or whatever it was, that special type of stock. Sorry, I'm speaking in layman's term for the common folks out there who are not business savvy like myself. Right. So the previous type of shares and stocks that he had like, even though he only owned 30 something percent, his stock or shares made him like 80 something percent. Like it was like he had the voting power compared to everyone else. Like no one can outvote him. But now because of this merger, he has to give up a lot of those rights. Correct?
What's going to happen is if you own WWE stock and do not sell it before the merger goes in place, your stock will roll over to the new company. When Vince's stock rolls over, he will essentially only have roughly 19%. Yes. More than anybody outside of, Endeavor, but it'll still only be 19, not a controlling stake.
Gotcha. Wow. That's crazy. So, and then the other thing too, keep in mind that with all the scandals surrounding Vince McMahon, wasn't it earlier this year, Wall Street Journal said there's still more reports or info that has not been released yet or something like that?
I think that could have also, some people said that was them fishing. Maybe saying, well, it's Vince. There's always going to be something bad with Vince.
Okay. So
I don't know if they do know something and wouldn't. I assume if they knew something, they wouldn't have hinted at it. They would have just put it out. And if they weren't confident, I don't think they would have hinted like that.
Well,
so I think that was them kind of reaching, like, we may know something.
Yeah.
But we can't say it. And maybe it's nothing. So I don't know.
So hypothetically, like, if let's say there's some more dirt on him, that maybe whoever has that dirt strategically wants to save that. I'm just allegedly or thinking they want to save that till maybe after this deal is done, release it, and then therefore the higher powers that be can use that as an excuse to get rid of Vince down the road.
We learned, I think it was today, April 12th, as we're recording this, that in Vince's new contract with WWE, he has to abide by all of WWE's code of conduct and policies.
Yeah, which is...
He is no longer above the law.
Wow. So, man, well, it's going to be interesting because, like, it's still going to take, 4 to 6 months for this whole deal to finalize?
Because WWE is a publicly traded company, it has to get approved by what is called regulators. So there are some that can say, no, this is a monopoly. They shouldn't own both the UFC and the WWE, and they can say no on the deal. I don't see that happening. It's not going to be like with Microsoft trying to buy Activision. I don't know how much of a video game person you are, but Microsoft's been trying to buy Activision for over a year. They already bought Bethesda like a year or two ago. And now Sony is trying to come back saying, no, Microsoft can't own everybody. They can't own every major game studio. We think it's a monopoly. That's why the Microsoft deal hasn't gone and got approved yet. And so Sony's trying to push back on that. But with this, I don't see anybody pushing back on it. And so I think give it regular time, it all gets approved. The new company gets put on the stock exchange and boom, we're good to go. But there is stuff in recent years that are examples of a buyout or a merger getting halted with video games. But I don't think that's going to happen here with WWE. Because no one's, I mean, who's going to say, oh, they shouldn't be able to own both companies? I don't see that happening.
Yeah, man. No, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes out throughout the rest of the year. I've, working in my job, my company, let's see, the original company I worked for when I got hired back like 18 years ago, we got bought out by another company. And anytime a company buys another company, unfortunately, it comes with a lot of layoffs and stuff like that. And then the new company that bought us, then we bought another company and then merged staff. And then unfortunately, in the near future, then there were more layoffs. So that's my concern. It's just with this merger of UFC and WWE, that down the road, it's not going to happen right now, but down the road when things get finalized, and eventually there might be some layoffs because you got like multiple people maybe doing the same job from both companies. So that's my only concern. It's just, I would just hate to see people lose their jobs down the road in order to save some money with the merger. So
and
that's unfortunate.
We don't have many details on how they're going to run this new company, because they have said UFC is going to run like its own company. WWE is going to run like its own company. Now, we don't know if that's just hearsay or jargon speak for now for everyone to be cool with it and not get concerned. But I mean, there is the chance that they merge these companies together and then both have the same now PR team, both have the same media team, both have, the same graphics department, making everything for everything. We don't know if they're going to keep their own divisions or if they're going to make one departments. Or if they're going to be like, okay, now so-and-so, you're running PR for both WWE and UFC. Oh, you're the head of graphic design for both WWE and UFC. Or keep them separate like they say they're going to do.
Listen, I know that language right there. It's a way to save money. It's like, oh, you do this job. Well, if you do this person's job, we can get rid of that person. You just do both jobs and we save money on salaries. I know exactly all that lingo and how that all plays out. So who knows? Like, I'm just, for me, just like the WWE people that I know and just turnover and stuff, I'm just worried that people I've worked with in the past, hopefully they're around long term after something. That's my only concern. But can't focus on that stuff. That's out of everyone's control at that point. But it's gonna be interesting though. And then down the road, like, I know everything right now more or less is going to stay the same. So from a viewer, it's all business as usual. But down the road, it's going to be interesting seeing what TV deals can be up now. Like, now that a new company owns them, do they work out a new deal with Xfinity or Comcast and maybe can get new deals for USA Network or Fox? Or do they go somewhere else that like a package deal with UFC? I know UFC is ESPN. And then I know we got the Peacock deal right now, but down the road, people are concerned, will WWE go back to like a pay-per-view system like what UFC does? So will like WrestleMania be like $80 in a couple years or something? So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of speculation, but I think for right now, just enjoy it for what it is. And down the road, we'll just have to adjust accordingly when everything's happened. It would be interesting to see if they go to a new streaming service maybe, and you pay a monthly fee to access everything, but then you pay a monthly fee for the big pay-per-views or something. Who knows? The
Peacock deal, I think, still has like 2.5, 3 years on it. So that can't change anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not the 100% same situation. But if you look at when Endeavor bought the UFC, it's still basically the same company ran the same way. So hopefully that's the same thing they go with WWE and not much changes.
I hope so, just because I have Xfinity, and so I use my Xfinity, log into Peacock, so I can just get Peacock included in my cable plan. So I'm not paying extra for Peacock. So it would just suck to have to pay more money. Start paying for something I'm used to getting for free.
Do you get ads for Peacock?
Yeah. So with my
you got the free one. Okay, yeah.
No, so with Peacock, there's 3 tiers. There's the free version, which has a lot of commercials. $4.99 has some commercials, and $9.99 a month has no commercials at all.
Well, with the free version, you can't even watch like WWE stuff, like WWE pay-per-views.
So with my Xfinity cable plan, I get access automatically to the $4.99 version. So.
Right. So what Xfinity does, because this is what I had when I had Xfinity, they give you $5 off. So basically, you can get the $5 version for free, or what I was doing, pay $5, which is half of what I was already paying for WWE Network, and then I get no ads.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you. So, we'll see what happens in the near future. I mean, that's all out of our hands as well. So who knows? But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Like I saw all the memes already have been hilarious. Yeah. Like the next UFC pay-per-view is going to be fought, not in the Octagon, but Hell in a Cell. And like what kind of crossover will we see with UFC and WWE in the near future?
I think there needs to be minimal crossover, because then people will start going, oh, well, are we supposed to believe the UFC scripted now, or are they predetermining UFC fights? And so I think do crossover, sure, but don't do a lot, because it can hurt UFC, in my opinion. I could be wrong on that, but.
No, exactly. UFC is legit MMA fighting. These guys hit each other and getting bruises on their face and bloodied all up. You don't see that in WWE, so you got to keep them separated.
Only when Edge throws a ladder at your head.
Exactly. That's the Edge versus John Jones, or Edge versus John Jones in a Hell in a Cell match that's coming up. So.
Edge versus McGregor. Just give him another Irishman.
Oh my God, that'd be awesome. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens moving next, and with WWE, and just where they try to take it to the next level. So it's gonna be. Yeah, keep his eyes on that. All right, another tidbit of news I want to get into, just because he is a friend of the show. He, I think, hands down, is the one wrestler I've interviewed the most.
More than Jericho?
I have to sit down and tally that up. Okay, you're right. Jericho's probably number one.
The most famous person in your phone?
Yes, he is.
You're the most famous person in my phone, right?
What? No, I'm nobody. I'm nobody. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yes, I know, huh, Jericho. Thank you for you listened to that part of the interview. Chris Jericho did say in that interview, he says, you're the only person I would get up before 8 a.m. for. So I do appreciate that, Chris. Thank you. So, but I'm talking about Drew McIntyre, who I've interviewed, I think, like 9 times. So I love Drew McIntyre. Love just this run he's been on WWE since he's been back with the company the last few years. But unfortunately, some his status with the company is kind of up in the air. Well, at least what people are speculating. So long story short, and please, Tim, jump in if I'm missing anything.
Gotcha.
Is his contract is going to be up this year. Apparently, what people are finding out, there's an issue with negotiations right now. They're not agreeing on the money right now. I guess Drew wants more money than what's being offered. He's also frustrated with the creative.
Oh, the money and creative thing. I've seen that going around, but not from a credible source. Okay. I don't know where that got started. Because I didn't hear Sean Sapp say it. I didn't hear Mike Johnson say it. John Pollock, Dave Meltzer. I didn't hear it from any of them. And all Sean keeps saying, Sean Sapp keeps getting asked about Drew. He just goes, well, all I know is this deal's up at the end of the year. He's still got like 8-9 months to work out a new deal.
And that's the big thing. People thought like, his deal's coming up right now. It's like, well, no, I think it's end of the year. So he's not going anywhere. And then they said right now he's not going to agree on a new deal. He's going to wait till closer to the end to probably negotiate more.
Well, kind of like what Kevin Owens did. He waited till late and then re-signed a new deal.
Sami Zayn too. So, and look at them. It worked out. Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens main event with Stone Cold last year, main event against the Usos this year. Sami Zayn, big program with Johnny Knoxville last year. Granted, if you like the comedy stuff or not, but then, the run he's been on this year. So it's worked out both for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for holding out. So Drew McIntyre, though, what is your thoughts on this whole situation? And then I guess people got more speculating because he missed SmackDown this week, but I think it was more just he was resting, right? He was really beat up after the IC title match.
No, not even that. It was that Drew's dealing with some sort of an undisclosed, I'll put that in air quotes, undisclosed health issue that they knew about before Mania, but he was insistent he wouldn't miss Mania. That's the word going around now.
I should DM him right now.
Undisclosed health issue.
hey man, are you okay? Tell
We
me.
don't know if it is a health issue as far as being banged up. We don't know if it's a health issue as far as being sick. We don't know if it's a health issue as far as an injury. They just know that it was something that they knew about before Mania, but he was insistent on not missing Mania.
Interesting. So, I love Drew McIntyre. I wish him a speedy recovery from whatever he's dealing with right now. And then on a side note, I hope, when it comes to big corporations versus the staff, I'm all for the staff getting paid, getting their money. When it comes to sports, owners versus players, I want the players to make as much money as they can. Same situation here. For the wrestlers, we know how much WWE makes every year. I want to see the wrestlers make as much money as they can. They're only young ones. They're only in their prime ones. In this situation, Drew, demand as much money as you want. You deserve it. I don't know, anything else? Your thoughts on Drew and his situation, like how he's should handle this? And
I can't speak for him. I don't know how much his contract is right now. I don't know how much he's making currently. Of course, you're always going to want to make more. Every contract, you're going to want to try to get more money out of it. And so the thing there is, does he just say, okay, I'm going to agree to whatever WWE puts on the table? Or does he go, no, I'm going to let this contract expire and see what other offers I get? He knows what it's like to play the game and go out and be other places and have many people interested in him. He's already done that once. Does he want to have to go back out there? Does he want to go work for AEW? Does he want to go back to Impact and working the indies? I don't know. He seems very happy in WWE. Yeah. He doesn't seem like, to me, he doesn't seem like somebody putting on a facade of, well, I'm here, so I have to make it look like I want to be here. I have to make it look like I'm happy. He legit generally seems happy being in WWE.
Yeah. For me, though, it's just with Drew, it's like for the last few years, he's been such a total pro, the face of WWE, great spokesperson. He does so much press. Obviously, that's why I got so many interviews with him. He's done so much for the company, true professional, just always on call for what was needed, traveling around the world, wherever needed for them. He delivers great matches. So I feel like he deserves whatever money he wants. Yeah. Like I said, I want him to get as much as he can. My other thing, though, is I just want him to stay in WWE. I want him to at some point get a world title win in front of the WWE universe. That's the one thing about the pandemic era that I'm so bummed about. He was, I think, a great WWE champion in the circumstances handed to him. I want him to have a world title run in front of the WWE universe. And so I thought he was great. I loved him as WWE champion. Now, granted, that's my one issue with Roman having both titles right now. It's really a stranglehold on the main event scene right now. So I think I can see why Drew might be frustrated with creative, is because there's not much to do, because either you're against Roman or you're not. And then if you're not, you're just kind of floating on the side, maybe bouncing around maybe the mid-card scene or upper mid-card, right outside the main event scene looking in. That's where he's kind of been for the last year, outside of the Roman feud last year, which was great, leading up to Clash at the Castle. But, the Baron Corbin feud that went on really long, leading up to WrestleMania last year. He's been going back and forth with Sheamus, the Banger Bros. that was fun earlier this year. So I can see why he's frustrated, because he's like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not. Does he go after the IC title again at some point? I mean, he might feel that's a little bit of a step down because he was world champion, but he's not in the Roman Reigns talks right now because he already had his one match with him. And I don't know if they want to revisit that right now. They want other maybe fresh opponents for Roman Reigns for the next year. So I can see why I might be feeling frustrated. Like, what do I do right now? And that's the other thing too. I've seen some people make the argument, maybe a change of scenery might be good for Drew. Maybe he does go away.
And when speaking about the whole, maybe he wants more money and stuff, we have learned with the Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks situation, WWE, they're not just going to go, how much you want? No, if they think you're asking for too much, they'll just say, okay, walk.
Yeah, that's true. And also, isn't there like a little bit of a freezing hold right now on new hires because of this merger right now?
That's the word, but we're hearing so many different things on this. The word going around is that they're on a hiring freeze, but I think the hiring freeze may have only been till this deal was put in place, because if you remember, why was Nick Khan even brought to WWE? To make the company at least look more profitable. How do you make the company look more profitable? Don't add more spending to the books.
Yeah, that's true.
Now that the sale is all but done, the merger or whatever, they don't got to look fancy. They don't got to look pretty and cheap for somebody else.
Yeah. So with Drew, like, yeah, maybe change the scenery, but I feel like if he goes to AEW, sure, that's probably the place to get close to the money he was making. I don't know if they can match it per se, just because they don't work as much as WWE, but that's the closest as far as the second biggest company and being on cable TV and stuff. But I feel like he goes over there, he'll easily get lost in the shuffle. How many free agents have signed there, have a big debut, couple weeks on fire, and then they fall onto the sideline? So I'm just worried if Drew goes to AEW, he'll just fall apart, and then we'll have like a creative storyline for him and just be like, oh yeah, there's Drew Galloway on AEW television. Impact, unfortunately, they don't have the money, I think, to afford him now, unless he's cool with making less and doing more indies to make up for it. But then that's just more wear and tear on his body to make up for the lost money salary wise. So I don't know. I feel like WWE is really his only option. And I feel like he's such a WWE guy at this point. There's nowhere else for him to go unless he goes to Japan or something, or UK scene. I don't know what he wants, but his life, he lives in Nashville. He's married. His home is the US now. So I just don't see him, like, at this point in his life, older age, to go out on the indie scene again or something. So
yeah, because he's going to be 37, 38 this year.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I just don't see him, like, doing that. So I think it's smart, though, to not sign anything right now and wait till the end of the year. Wait to see how this merger takes place, how it plays out.
That's a big one, yeah.
TV deals, let the business side things happen first, and then when the dust settles, reevaluate your situation and go ahead with your demands. So yeah. Anyway, Drew, hope you don't go anywhere. And hope you get a WWE title opportunity again in the near future. So, all right. The other big news was today, I believe it came out that Logan Paul re-signed with the company. And you were telling me off the air, Tim, is it a multi-year deal now?
So that's what it said in the ESPN interview. And this news did come out. It officially came out on Monday the 10th.
Okay.
That Logan Paul signed a new multi-year deal with the company. ESPN got the drop on it or whatever. I think Logan tweeted it out, and then the ESPN article came out where they spoke to both Logan and Triple H.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of controversy on the photo Logan put out there. I think it's photoshopped. I mean, why would the microphone on his jacket be yellow?
Let me look at the photo again. I gotta look at it.
That makes no sense. But regardless, Logan Paul has signed a multi-year deal with WWE. It was always thought that his first deal was a multi-year deal, but then I did a little looking. WWE never said multi-year deal. He never said multi-year deal. Other people in wrestling media said they thought it was a multi-year deal, but it wasn't. Logan Paul was under a 1-year contract to WWE, but now in the interview that was done with him and Triple H, it was put out by ESPN, multi-year. So that's good to know. And a couple of interesting things from that. Logan Paul did state that, he was nervous throughout that whole first year because he didn't know how the fans were going to receive him and how they were going to take him and stuff like that, and how he was even going to do. But coming off of WrestleMania, he's now very confident in what he can do in WWE and thinks that the one thing he needs to do now is win a belt. He didn't say he wants to be the world champion. He just said, I want to win a belt in WWE. So maybe he dethrones Austin Theory for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
I don't see him being Gunther.
That's the other thing is, like, with that quote, a lot of people are like, oh, well, he's not going to beat Roman, and he's not going to be the one to beat Roman. But then some people were like, then he was like, some people said, oh, maybe he wins Money in the Bank. Like, how crazy would it be if Logan Paul's the one to win Money in the Bank briefcase?
It wouldn't be too bad, because I like how when you have Money in the Bank, you're not supposed to be somebody, in my opinion, that's like always, hey, I'm going to use it now. I'm going to get I think a part-timer having Money in the Bank is actually very smart, because you never know when they're going to show up then. It's not that they're there every week and could cash in at any time. It's I can't put myself in a situation because I know the guy's backstage. I don't even know when that guy's going to be here. So I always have to be on my game as the champion.
Well, and then also, let's be real. Money in the Bank is always better on a heel, because theoretically the premise of cashing in, you're trying to capitalize on someone else at a disadvantage, and you're trying to sneak your way in to get the win, 100%. Get the title. So it's always better on a heel versus a baby phase. Yes. So Logan Paul kind of finally embracing the heel that he is, that he's better suited for, especially in the US. It makes sense for a heel like Logan Paul to maybe get it. So yeah, then we'll see what happens there. I'm actually looking at the photo right now. So you said even the microphone was yellow, or
if you zoom in enough on the so you can see the blue outline on the jacket. Like you can see that there's a slight blue shadow on his neck.
Yes.
The microphone.
Yes. Oh my God.
As a graphic designer myself, that's what got me was, the mic's yellow. The mic shouldn't be yellow.
Yes. Oh my God. They were like quickly working on it the night before, probably.
Also, kudos to whoever photoshopped Stephanie out of that and made it look so seamless. Because Stephanie was completely like part of like a good, not good chunk, but a nice portion of her arm and stuff were behind Logan.
Yeah.
In the original photo. So
yeah,
kudos to whoever did that, because that's not an easy background to replicate and try to, that's a complicated background. So kudos to whoever did that Photoshop job. Ish, because the microphone still shouldn't be yellow. Exactly.
So right for here, Logan Paul, to his credit, and this is something we talked about, I think was it last episode, we're talking about the Seth Rollins match. He brings a lot of eyeballs to the WWE product for maybe casual fans or non-wrestling fans who are a fan of his, that are following his career. It brings a lot of fresh new eyeballs to the product that helps expand WWE's brand to new people. As you said, your son and, kids his age, who Logan Paul's a big influencer in their life. So
at like 8 to 15-year-old range for boys thinks Logan Paul's cool.
Yeah.
Like, we see him on TV on WWE doing what he does. Oh man, that guy's awesome. All these kids now, all they want to do is drink Prime.
So I get it. It's worth the investment that they pay him and the return that they get from that.
Oh yeah.
It totally makes sense. So
I mean, it's not like Snooki going out there and trying to have a WrestleMania match. They can depend on him to go out there and do any kind of match and do anything in a match. You don't got to be like, all right, we got to specifically book this around your one or two little things you can do. No, you go out there and be like, all right, here's your opponent, here's your producer. Just go out there like any other WWE superstar and set up your match.
And that, I'm sure, makes things much easier for the people behind the scenes planning stuff. It makes sense. They want to re-sign him and just, his platforms, YouTube channels, podcasts, everything that he does, his Instagram, social media. Anytime he mentions WWE, I'm sure they love that extra attention. So it makes sense.
On his end now, he gets all these WWE guys on his podcast. He had Triple H, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, his latest one with Rey Mysterio. Ray told a very interesting story no one knew about on that.
Which one?
Ray was addicted to pills, and Angie was basically like, your pills are the family. And Ray was like, I got to pick family. So he told Vince, I got to go to rehab. And Vince was like, hey, only a real man can realize they got a problem and need to go get help. So yeah, go do what you got to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what year that was roughly, or did he reveal?
I want to say it might have been. I don't know if he said the year. If he did, I missed it. But he said it was during his, before he left WWE. So I want to say 2010, 11 timeframe.
I was going to say like 10 years ago, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he said that he was on vacation with the family. Angie realized, something was up, figured out that he was popping pills, and gave him the ultimatum of, it's your addiction or your family. You need to go get help. Wow. And so they went home after the vacation. He went to TV, told Vince, hey, I need some time off because I got to go get help for this. And he's like, Vince told me only a real man can admit when they need help and go get the help. So do what you got to do.
Gotcha. Wow. I remember he was gone for a bit for injuries at the time, like his knees and stuff. I wonder maybe.
Well, then he talks about that, how he had a super major knee surgery because he had a ACL, MCL issue where his knee was hanging on by a thread. He's like, it was so hard to not, get addicted and be on the pills and stuff again.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. So, but for Logan Paul, curious to see what he does next and what other opponents. I think him and Ricochet should do something at some point.
That'd be great.
That'd be fun. So,
him and Ricochet in like a King of the Ring qualifier or something.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Or a semifinal match or something.
So congrats, Logan Paul, on your new deal. Also, Last week on Raw and SmackDown, Triple H came out twice for an announcement. The one on Raw was more or less just saying he was beating around the bush to acknowledge that WWE got bought, or merging with UFC without flat out saying it. He was just dancing around and just more or less, I think, trying to relay to the fans, nothing's going to change. WrestleMania was a huge success. Thank you for all the support. And WWE's going to be as it always been. So that was more or less good old speech. SmackDown, though, he said more or less the same thing.
You're missing a big thing there. He hyped up this crowd and pissed them all off at the exact same time.
Which I was there.
He did the whole. We're not going anywhere. Nothing's changing. Now help me introduce Roman Reigns the night after he beat Cody.
That's right. You're right. And he shook his hand on the ramp. Yeah. You're right. So on SmackDown, though, he actually had a little bit more to say. He added, in a few weeks, the WWE Draft is coming back and everyone is up for grabs at that point. So, which I think was exciting news. Like finally the draft, we haven't had one in a year and a half. And I'm glad it's done after WrestleMania, which makes sense. Not in October, like a few weeks before Survivor Series, when you're doing brand versus brand supremacy, where someone jumps ships and they're like wrestling for Raw when they've been on SmackDown for the last year. And it's like, what? Like, how can you be so loyal to Raw when you've been on SmackDown the whole time? So it makes sense after WrestleMania, where a lot of the major storylines have concluded.
I mean, right now, the brand split doesn't even exist, to be honest. Because remember, Ray did the whole, I want to switch to SmackDown, so I'm not doing anything to conflict with my son. I don't want to be around him. Ray's on both shows every week. Yeah.
And then Rhea, after winning Royal Rumble, was appearing more on SmackDown, or she was on Raw with Judgment Day, but going to SmackDown, confronting Charlotte. So it's been a lot more fluid as far as people jumping around. But with the draft itself, I'm excited. Hopefully, we'll freshen things up. Maybe we'll get back to more, consistent, separate rosters, keep people away from each other.
Here is why I think the draft is very important right now. Okay. TV deal. Because you can do one of two things. You can do either, hey, you want to buy all of this? You want all of this on your network? Or do you want just Raw? Do you want just SmackDown? And if you get just Raw, remember, you have the exclusive rights to just these SmackDown wrestlers. They're not going to go in hey, Fox, they're not going to be on USA Network. So you can say, oh, you can only see Roman Reigns and Charlotte Flair on Fox. Or USA, you can only see Braun Strowman on the USA Network. So that's a tactic in the TV negotiations of, hey, you want just one brand? Well, if you get one brand, you can say you're the home of this big wrestler.
Gotcha.
It won't be seen on the other network outside of, Peacock, of course.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's great. It's very true. But at the same time, I hope, though, once they get these brands split up, rosters for each show, keep it separate.
Yes.
That way it makes it special that these people are here and these people are over there. But I hope for the draft itself, they freshen things up with the execution of it. The last few years have been pretty boring, lackluster. I miss the days of the early 2000s where it was like everyone's sitting in a room and you wait to get your name called and you get the T-shirt. Now, granted, they don't have GMs right now, so I don't know how they're going to execute it. And I didn't like the way they did
USA
the
Network and Fox War Rooms.
I know, man, those were so cheesy. So I don't know. Like, I hope they think of something creative for the presentation.
Also, does Adam Pearce take the Stephanie spot announcing the draft on all the draftees? Remember the last couple of times it was Stephanie making all those announcements. So do they just use Adam Pearce or do they use Triple H?
Yeah. So, and I hope that the way they present it to just make it a big deal, or maybe do some trades, or do you bring in GMs to represent each brand, or So I hope they just do something different with it just to freshen things up. But I do think the draft is needed, especially. As you mentioned, last episode, Bianca Belair kind of went through everyone on the Raw roster.
True.
Bring in some fresh faces from SmackDown over the Raw that she has some new opponents to go up against. And same for now Rhea Ripley, who looks like she's going to go over to SmackDown and, need some new opponents over there. So that's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I know we're running long here. Maybe on another episode we'll discuss fantasy book, who should go where, who like needs a change of scenery. Right. So yeah, maybe we'll save that for that's a bigger discussion. So yeah, no, I'm excited for the draft and see where it goes, all that good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and talk more about what else has been happening on Raw and SmackDown over the last week and a half or so. Now, specifically for Cody, as disappointed as most fans were, which by the way, I forgot to mention in the WrestleMania recap, that's the thing. While people were bummed to see Cody lose, there were still a lot of people in the crowd at WrestleMania throwing up the ones afterwards. And in the press box, there was a lot of people who want Roman Reigns. So
also, did you see the Raw after Mania? I don't know, because I don't think you watched it on TV. No. O'Shea Jackson Jr. was like the biggest Roman Reigns fan in the front row behind commentary. Every time Roman was there, oh, Roman Reigns, yeah. And like, you could say he was one of the ones rooting for Roman that night after WrestleMania.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there was still a lot of people kind of happy to see Roman retain. So that's a whole nother, observation I know. But with Raw after Mania, Cody came out, confront Roman Reigns after Triple H introduced him, wanted his rematch. Everyone's excited. Roman and Paul Heyman said, no, you're not going to get it. And then he said, I want something. Give me a tag match. And long story short, Paul Heyman said, fine, you find a tag partner, someone that wrestled this past weekend at WrestleMania, and then this person cannot challenge for the title afterwards as well. And then, surprise, Brock Lesnar comes out, and it's like, oh my God, Brock and Cody like teaming together, like Cody's face and like Brock, like Cowboy Brock grabbing him, like yeah, and like just the memes after. So it led to the main event for that Raw, as far as Brock and Cody teaming up against Solo and Roman. Unfortunately, the match did not happen. As they're doing the announcements, their introductions, Brock attacked Cody, F5 him, beat the crap out of him.
Roman's face like, all right, I'm just going to leave and I'll let you do you.
Which is funny, him walking out like, all right, I'm out. Him, Solo, Paul Heyman, all right, peace. Brock destroying him, F5'd him on the stairs. As you mentioned, it was very much like the beatdown John Cena got. Outside the ring, the refs were trying to confront him, stop him, and he was chasing off the refs. It was hilarious to watch. It was like mice running away from a cat. And the beatdown went on pretty long. I was like, because I guess they were trying to get to 8 o'clock, West Coast time. So they were stretching this beatdown for as long as they could. And then on this week's Raw, Cody comes out selling the injury, beat up, cuts a great promo saying, he was embarrassed to lose at WrestleMania, had the rubber chicken by his head. Forgot to mention that, the WrestleMania review. But, he challenges Brock Lesnar to a match, and he said WrestleMania Backlash, which I think was a little slip up. Right?
That was a slip up on his end. It's not WrestleMania Backlash. All the graphics and advertising is regular Backlash.
Yeah. So he challenges Brock Lesnar for a match at Backlash, and then Brock will be back on Raw next week. So,
hey, the only Backlash he's ever worked is a WrestleMania Backlash. So you can give him a little credit. Give him a little slack there.
So your thoughts though on so Cody, since he lost to Roman, I guess
a great person for Cody to beat coming off the loss.
Yeah, so
have him beat the big bad beast. Yes.
So if this is the story they're going to tell for the next year, as far as got to give more challenges to Cody, more adversity and challenges to overcome to really set him up as a strong babyface.
Got to have
better way to do that.
Yeah, one of the biggest, hardest opponents they got,
Brock Lesnar. So I'm excited. It's different. Have they ever wrestled each other? I'm like trying to think.
I don't think so.
I think, when Cody started, Brock was already gone at that point. And then when Brock came out, 2012? And I think Cody, was he Stardust by that point? I'm trying to think of the timeline.
I'm trying to look here. I don't think they've ever worked a match against each other.
Okay.
That I can see.
But anyway, it's exciting, something different. And with Roman not going to be at Backlash, having Brock there instead, that's a big, I know Brock is supposed to, we'll get his answer next week on Raw, but you assume it's going to happen.
Well, right. So no spoilers or anything. We know the Bad Bunny match is coming at Backlash as well. Triple H basically told us Bad Bunny's working Backlash. And right now they're contemplating what main events, the Bad Bunny tag match with Ray and Judgment Day, or is it Cody and Brock? Because you can legit say, Cody and Brock, that's the biggest match. But they're in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So for the live crowd, Bad Bunny in the main event would be phenomenal.
Yes, exactly.
So you can go either way.
So for this match, I'm excited to see. It's a different matchup, and I think it's a good opponent for Cody to go up against and try to get a big win. But I'm curious though, does Brock lose? Like, he did get the win over Omos, but he did lose quite a bit last year against Roman, and he was putting some other people over. So, but I could
1,000% Cody has to win.
He has to. I think so too. He has to win, tell this story. And then, what else was I going to say about the Cody Brock stuff? It'll be interesting. I'm a little bummed to see Brock go heel. I thought Cowboy Brock, babyface Cowboy Brock has been a lot of fun.
Right.
So the kind of them to switch it up. And what do you think of the reasoning as it was? Wade Barrett threw out? It's like, oh, he was upset of his match placement as being the first match of night 2.
Don't play us dumb. We all know WrestleMania 35. Brock has to go on first so he can go home early.
Exactly.
Don't play us dumb.
Exactly. So I'm not a fan of that reasoning. I hope Brock gives us more reasoning in this promo next week. So, no, but I'm excited. I think it's a good thing to kind of keep Cody busy for the next month or so. And
also, one other thing. What did Jericho say before when he had to go on second at WrestleMania 33 with Owens? You want to be in the main event or you want to go on first? Main event, you're the main event. Going on first means they trust you to heat up the crowd.
Exactly. So, that reasoning Wade Barrett gave, sorry, not working here, man. So we'll see how this goes. I'm excited for it. Another thing, as you just mentioned, Bad Bunny. So on the Raw after Mania, Bad Bunny, he was already at WrestleMania for the Ray match. Raw after Mania, I missed all of this. I was in line buying food at the concession stand. But
it happened to all of us before.
So during my time away from my seat, apparently Damian Priest, Dom confront Bad Bunny while Ray's having a match with Austin Theory.
Yeah.
Talking crap, and he jumps over the barricade. And him and Damian Priest going at it because they were former tag team.
Well, he slaps Dom twice. Bad Bunny.
Yeah, slaps Dom. Damien comes to his defense. And by the way, Bad Bunny, those punches were little, not that good. It's like so he punches Dom twice, and then Damien makes the save, choke slams him through the table, which I gotta give Bad Bunny credit taking a table spot like that. And his head kind of like was wailing around loosely. I was like, oh my God. So he took the spot, but yeah, as you said, it looks like it's leading up to a match with Bad Bunny, Ray versus Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Dom.
So what my co-host on the Monday Night podcast, Monday Night Raw review, Luke suggested that they could maybe do. So I haven't heard this reported anywhere. The reports are all the regular tag match. He suggested, why not also add in Finn and Santos and make it a 6-man?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I think that'd be great as well. Hopefully Finn's head's healed by that point.
Finn worked on Raw, so he's fine to go. He worked Ray on Raw.
Yeah, put his brain back in. So, but yeah, no, having Bad Bunny wrestle in Puerto Rico is going to be huge for them. And yeah, that can be a main event.
I love Triple H was asked at the press conference. So Bad Bunny, he's going to be the host of Backlash. Is he going to work Backlash? And Triple H is like, let me just say, I'm not saying anything on that right now.
Okay.
Basically said yes.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Finn Balor had a match with Ray this past Monday, got the big win after Dom interfered though. So yeah, it's setting up that match there. So that's going to be a lot of fun for Backlash. The other big thing was, Brock had a heel turn last week. This week we had another heel turn in the form of Trish Stratus, which was not shocking because it got reported back in, was it February or early March, that Trish was going to do a heel turn at some point. So anyone who follows the news.
Trish said it herself in an interview. I forget who the interview was with, maybe CBS Sports, but she was like, I'd always like to do one last heel run.
Okay. There you go.
I think it was with CBS Sports.
Okay. Well, so this past Monday on Raw, we see Lita knocked out, attacked backstage, and Lita could not defend the tag titles with Becky against Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, which kind of odd that they got a tag title match, even though they did not win the showcase at WrestleMania.
They beat Damage CTRL for the number. It's all.
Oh, that's right. Sense. Yeah, that was on Raw.
They beat Damage CTRL in the number one contenders match, even though they didn't. Yeah, it was all kind of whack.
I know. Yeah. So they have this match here. Good match, for the most part, solid match here. Yeah. But Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan pick up the win. They're the new tag team champions. And Liv pins Trish Stratus, which was kind of shocking. Well, I'll get into a second why. Becky's trying to console Trish. She looks upset. And then she turned her back and Trish attacked Becky Lynch, which it was kind of an awkward attack. Like, did Trish
Becky goes in there and it's like, we lost. Oh, well. Like, you're not mad you lost your tag titles?
And did Trish fall while she was trying to throw the punch at her? It looked kind of awkward. Like,
it did look a little weird. I don't know. So
let me ask you this. Thoughts on Trish turning heel? And what is the motivation? I think that's the big question. Like, why? Why?
So, I don't care about Trish turning heel. I'm going to say that right now. This means nothing to me. I don't care. But here's some storyline things they can do. They can do a couple different things. They can go, hey, you picked Lita over me as your tag team partner. I'm mad. Or she can say, hey, why was it you and Lita and not me and Lita? So she's either mad that Lita got picked or she's mad that Becky was in the match. They can go one of two different ways. We'll know her reasoning soon. But I'm going to tell you right now, Lita or Trish, very busy person. Because not only is she showing up on Raw and WrestleMania, but then she's flying to Canada and doing Canada's Got Talent as well. They're filming that actively right now. She's a very busy bee.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is like, my thing is like, why would she turn on Becky when like she helped them help Becky the steel cage match? Well, no, it's not steel cage. No, when they won the tag title. Excuse me. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting my Becky matches mixed up.
Maybe she hates Bayley worse than Becky, so she wanted to screw with Bayley for I don't know.
Yeah, like the reasoning makes sense. It's like she helped Becky and Lita win the tag titles. Now she's going up against them. Like the motivation doesn't make sense. It's a little clunky here. And the other thing too with and then if she wanted Becky to lose or she wants to turn on her, why does she even offer her services in the match to begin with? Like if Lita's out and like why would you want to help Becky? Like maybe in the moment she's like, I hate her now.
Oh, no. It's a whole kind of different vendetta of, well, I was going to just screw you and Lita in the tag match, but now I can be in the match and lose. And so you don't want them to be the tag team champions.
The only other motivation I could think of is maybe Trish can say, how dare you, Becky and the Four Horsewomen, say you revolutionized the women's division. I was the true revolution back in my day or something. Like I don't get enough respect for where the state of women's wrestling is now. Like I was the trendsetter. Right. Maybe that's her motivation. I don't know, but I'm just worried that they could have done something like maybe a few weeks ago. As you said, maybe Trish could have said like, good luck out there, guys. I wish Lita was tagging with you or something like just some like little Easter eggs of her state of mind is of like maybe how she feels about Becky.
Speaking of Easter eggs, I thought Trish was going to want to challenge Bianca because there was that one time when they were all in the ring together and like Trish was like eyeing Bianca and looking at her belt a couple times, like really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the other thing too is, and the rumor is it's supposed to be a match for SummerSlam with Trish and Becky.
Very early to start building that.
Yeah. Like, didn't they pull the gun a little too early here?
Maybe she fights Lita first. So here's the thing. Maybe she fights Lita first because is she the one that attacked Lita?
That's the thing. Or maybe it's a swerve and Lita faked it and then Lita and Trish both attacked Becky.
Hey, it's possible.
But that's the thing. It's like SummerSlam's in what, 4 months? A little under 4 months. And like, how are you going to get to that point? How are you going to stretch this out for 4 months unless you have so much storytelling to tell on Raw and whatnot leading up to it? I don't know. It's fascinating to me. So
SummerSlam is August 5th.
August 5th. Okay. So I don't know. I mean,
that's SummerSlam. August 5th. Same day as Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. They announced today.
I know. I saw that too. That's gonna be interesting. So anyway,
why would you pick the same day as SummerSlam?
I know Logan Paul could.
That's
be
a whole other
SummerSlam.
topic, but
yeah. So
that's
anyway,
what I'm thinking. You gonna go up against your brother?
So
regardless,
I'll see how this goes.
They pulled the trigger way too early.
Yeah, they could have lost the tag titles. I have no problem losing tag titles this past Monday, but maybe being a slow burn of like Trish frustrated that she lost the tag titles, like it's her fault, or blames Becky or feels bad, and they could have stretched this out for the next few weeks. But yeah, I think they pulled it too soon. So we'll see how it goes. As far as the Bloodline story outside of Roman Reigns, specifically, with the Usos, what was it on SmackDown? Sorry, I had it right here. Oh, well, we got Solo, got the Usos working together. Last week on, was it last week on Raw? I'm serious. Well, actually, okay. So last week on the Raw after Mania, Matt Riddle made his big return, attacked The Miz, which now looks like it was just a one-off. So on SmackDown, though, we saw.
Well, I don't know what's going on, but the Miz Riddle match that was supposed to happen this week on Raw got pulled, but that got pulled before all the travel issues, though. So it wasn't pulled because of, according to Dave Meltzer, it was something had to get pulled because Miz was unavailable or something.
Yeah, Miz was not in the arena.
They're moving Riddle to the Bloodline. It doesn't matter anyways.
Which makes sense because, so Jey Uso defeated Sami Zayn on SmackDown. Then Sami Zayn got the beat down. Matt Riddle came out, made the save, which makes sense because keep in mind, back in December, when Riddle got written off TV, he got beat down by Solo. So it makes sense for Riddle to be angry at the Bloodline. So Matt Riddle came out, made the save with Sami Zayn. And then on Monday, once again, we saw in the main event, Solo versus Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens got a beat down after he, let's see. That's right. Attempted to end Kevin Owens the problem. So Kevin Owens got beat down by the Usos and Solo. And then towards the end, we saw Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle make the save running in, which literally they arrived, in the middle of the third hour?
So according to Dave Meltzer, they showed up in the middle of the third hour. What happened was there was a flight from Orlando to Seattle that got delayed, apparently. And as you may ask, well, there's other people that live in Orlando, like Kevin Owens, that were on the show. What happened there? Well, some people said, I'm not leaving on Easter. I'm going to leave the next morning. That flight got delayed. Jesus, so there was a number of people that got delayed. We don't know exactly how many. Andrew Zarian said 50% of the roster. PW Insider said a third of the show had to be rewritten. So, yeah, that was a big old. And everyone going, oh, look. They're changing things. Vince is in charge. No, it's called travel issues. This is a Triple H show. And so that's crummy.
I know. So, but I did like how the cavalry's coming, so they come running in.
But I did appreciate them opening the show with Corey Graves saying, "Hey, just so you know, half of the people here are not, or that are supposed to be here, aren't because we have some issues with travel." I appreciate that, them being up front, because if they would have just had Riddle and Sami Zayn running in at the end like they did without telling us that, and us say some people not following on social media the news, then it'd been like. They just show up whenever they want.
Yeah.
What were they doing? Riddle got them stoned and they missed call time.
Yeah, they're just being really late. Yeah. Slow.
Yeah, but I like that they addressed it at the beginning, saying, "Hey, there are people that are going to be not here or showing up late because there's a legit travel issue."
And that's a big thing. I'm glad you brought it up. So travel issues. A lot of stuff got rewritten. Also, for right now, we don't spend too much time about it, but Vince McMahon was present at the Raw after Mania, and now people
because he was in town.
He was in town, but then this past Monday, Triple H ran SmackDown, ran Raw, but didn't he had to get Vince's approval though, virtually or remotely?
No, I heard Vince may have looked at the rundown and gave some suggestions, but it was a Triple H. At the end of the day, Triple H has final say. Okay. Triple H has said since January, he has told talent, "Oh yeah, I talked to Vince. I asked Vince for suggestions and advice. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Yeah." Vince has had input because I've asked him, but I still have final say. He's told the roster that Vince has had input, but he's got final say.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
He's been transparent.
So it looks like, as far as outside Roman Reigns, where the Bloodline storyline's going right now, it's the Usos and Solo versus now Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Riddle. Yeah. Do you think that should be a match for Backlash then? That way you don't get the tag titles involved because it would be 6-man tag at that point.
Right.
But so I think that's, I think that's a good follow-up match after WrestleMania. That seems to be kind of maybe where they're going.
It ties in, give something for Riddle to do. Riddle doesn't feel like he's doing something random. It actually makes sense because, as you alluded to earlier, that's how Riddle was written off of television. So, I mean, it's not like they're just doing something random with Riddle, or they just want to throw an extra person in here. It actually makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that matchup and where it can go. And then after the draft, then maybe, it can kind of let Backlash be the conclusion to this story. And then after the draft, see where everyone ends up. So
when we talked about the draft earlier, I forgot to mention the rumored date for the draft is the Raw after Backlash. So the 8th of May. That's the rumored date. Not official. Okay. Triple H just said a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But the rumored date is May 8th, that Raw after Backlash.
Cool. Okay. Looking forward to that as well. And then what else? Oh, Damage CTRL. I just want to touch on this. It looks like, are we seeing the end of Damage CTRL? So yeah, Bayley celebrating that she's going to be in the triple threat match to crown a new #1 contender for Bianca. But then Io was getting mad. It's like, it's always you. You're always getting, stuff thrown your way and we're not getting anything here. So Bayley talked to Adam Pearce, made the switch. So now Io was in that triple threat match and she actually ends up winning. So she's now the new #1 contender for Bianca. So your thoughts on Io?
Here's the thing, going back to the first segment with Bayley saying, I'm in the triple threat. Io gets upset. Dakota gets upset. Oh, I thought it was Damage CTRL all for one. No, it's always you. It's always you. So Bayley's like, all right, I'll talk to Adam. I'll see what I can do. And they put Io in there. Dakota's perfectly fine with Io being in the match. Not upset. Celebrating when Io wins the triple threat and becomes #1 contender. Bayley a little perturbed. Bayley a little upset. Oh, yeah, that could have been me. So I think Io, Dakota eventually turn on Bayley because they're cool with each other getting opportunities, but they don't like Bayley getting an opportunity. They don't want Bayley to look like the leader, to look like the better of the three. So what are they going to do? They're okay with each other, but they're going to oust Bayley, I think.
Okay. So, yeah, I was going to ask you, which direction could this go? Could it be Io takes on Bianca, puts up a hell of a fight, maybe loses, but Bayley gets mad, kicks her out, and then Io can become a baby face? Or, as you said, could Dakota and Io get mad at Bayley and turn on her, beat her up, and then Bayley finally becomes a baby face again? Do you have a preference?
I think it's got to be, based off of what we saw on Raw, it's got to be Dakota and Io together. Because again, Dakota was mad that Bayley got the shot, but she wasn't mad about Io. So she's cool with Io getting opportunities, not Bayley.
Gotcha.
They're finally over. Oh, yeah, we used you to get to the main roster, but now we're done with you.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. I'm all for that. I think it's long overdue for Bayley to have a baby face run again. She's so talented. Yeah.
Yes. But I don't want Bayley to go back to the hugger. I think we've seen that. We've done that too much.
True.
She can be babyface Bayley, but I don't think she needs the streamers. I don't think she needs the wacky tube men. I don't think she needs to be slap wrists on girls in the front row anymore. She can be cool babyface Bayley, but I think that old version of Bayley ran its course.
Absolutely. And I think Bayley knows that. And I think she even said in interviews, she knew like that ran its course and, she wanted to do something different. So I think for her, she's all about reinventing herself. So her being a babyface, but a new version of that, which is exciting because she hasn't been babyface in a long time now. So that'd be good. So, all right. Well, I think we kind of covered it all. I do want to give a shout out. Yes. Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed. Great. Two big hosses beating the crap out of each other. Shout out Bronson Reed battling the flu. Still put on a good match or as best he could, in the condition he's in. It is a little unfortunate though, or please explain. So people are running wild thinking the Hurt Business storyline is done or not going to, the reunion's not going to happen. So what were you been hearing?
So a lot of people are crediting Dave Meltzer with saying that the reunion and the rebuilding of the Hurt Business has been shelved, has been kiboshed. That Triple H doesn't want to do it. That's not what Dave Meltzer said at all. Dave Meltzer never said that they have scrapped the headlines are WWE scraps plans to reunite the Hurt Business. That's not true. So Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez are doing their podcast on Monday night. They're talking about Raw. They're talking about Bobby Lashley, and Brian Alvarez goes, hey, whatever happened to them potentially wanting to put the Hurt Business back together?
Okay.
And all Dave says was, yeah, we haven't seen that in a while. It seems like plans must have changed because now we haven't seen MVP since WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen Shelton in a while. We haven't seen Cedric in a while. Things must have changed. Well, people don't understand the difference of Dave speculating and Dave reporting.
Yeah.
Dave literally said, people don't want to listen to podcasts. They get it. You got to pay for his podcast. But Dave literally said, it looks like they've gone a different direction. It looks like things might have been changed. He did not say, I'm reporting they canceled it. He was talking like you and me watching Raw. That's what it looks like from an outside perspective, that maybe they've gone a different direction. It was not a report.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so I like sometimes Alvarez will be on the show and he'll be like, well, before I say this, I do want to say, please don't quote me on this because this is not like Alvarez will do that sometimes. Be like, don't quote me on this.
Disclaimer.
It's not me actually reporting something, but what I heard or what I think is XYZ.
Gotcha.
Dave didn't say that. Everyone just assumed, oh, well, if Dave says something, Dave is reporting it. No. And people don't understand the difference. Sorry, I'm going on a little rant now. Don't understand the difference of a man giving his opinion and a man giving an actual legit report on something.
Gotcha.
There's no facts at all.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I with that being said, I do hope they get that reunion going at some point. I would love to see the Hurt Business back together. I love what they were doing. And, do you keep Omos in the equation since he has been working with MVP? That'd be interesting to see. Because then that way you get 4 active wrestlers while MVP is more of the manager. And like I said, I think was it on a WrestleMania recap, I would like to see maybe down the road Hurt Business versus the Bloodline. I think that'd be kind of cool. Potential War Games match right there as far as faction versus faction. So I think there's a lot of cool possibilities there. So it gives Roman something to do.
Give me Shelton Benjamin suplex and just throwing people from ring to ring.
Exactly. Any of that. Give me all of it. I would love it. So we'll see how, as they say, we'll see how it goes. So, all right. Well, hopefully we covered everything, all the major highlights from Raw and SmackDown over the last week and a half or so. I know it's been a lot of catch up post WrestleMania. So thank you guys for listening to this episode and the previous episode, which I did say at the top of the show was our WrestleMania review. So please take your time, listen to that as well. And thank you to Tim once again for making the time.
Anytime.
Tim, let's start wrapping things up. Where can the Kliqsters find you online?
You can find me personally, basically anywhere online at Timmy Buddy, or you can find Pro Wrestling Unlimited, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. You can follow us on TikTok, trying to post more there. So trying to slowly build that TikTok up as well. But you can find us on all major social media platforms.
Absolutely. Tim, you're a one-man wrecking crew. I encourage everyone, please subscribe to your YouTube channel. Watch your daily videos. You post a bunch every day. Watch your streams on Twitch and YouTube, all that good stuff. You do amazing work. Can't thank you enough for all the help and support you give myself and this show. So yeah, please, everyone, please support Tim any way you can. And I'm Baby Huey. So follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey 83. For everything else, subscribe to In The Kliq, where we get your podcast and audio at, and follow us on social at In The Kliq, and email us intthekliq@gmail.com. And that's KLIQ. I always got to state that. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.